There's really only one lesson you need to learn to understand the entire economy. Stop looking at what is visible. Start looking at what is not. Let me show you what I mean. A kid throws a rock and breaks the baker's shop window. The baker runs out. He's furious. There's glass everywhere. A crowd gathers. And then someone says, "Actually, this is good for the economy." Now the baker has to pay someone to fix the window. That guy takes the money. He goes and grabs lunch at a restaurant. The money starts moving. Jobs are created. This kid didn't cause damage. He just helped the economy. The crowd thinks about it, and slowly, they start nodding. But here is what everyone missed. The baker was going to buy a new suit that afternoon. Now he can't. So yeah, the repair guy got paid, but the tailor got nothing. The suit was never made. The crowd saw the window, they missed the suit. And that is the trick. That is how almost every bad economic idea in the world works. They show you the window being fixed. They never show you the suit that was never made. Today, I'm going to show you how this same trick is being used to fool you about your taxes, your job, and even the money in your pocket right now. Let's start with the first lesson. Imagine you live in a small village. Fixed amount of money, fixed amount of stuff, bread, milk, clothes. Prices are stable, life is normal. Then overnight, the mayor secretly gives $10,000 to 3 of his friends. Next morning, they go to the market first. They buy everything at normal prices. But by afternoon, sellers notice everyone seems to have more money. So prices start rising. By the time you show up after work, everything already costs more. You didn't get any of the new money, but you are paying the new prices. This is exactly what happens when countries print money. Inflation doesn't hit everyone at the same time. The people connected to power get the new money first. They spend it before prices move. By the time it reaches you, the prices will have already moved. Printing money looks like help. The government has more to spend. People get paid. That's the window being fixed. But every dollar printed makes your existing dollars worth less. That's the suit. That is the invisible. 2. Machines do not steal jobs. In the 1800s, workers in England broke into factories at night and smashed the newly invented weaving machines. Machines that could make clothes faster and cheaper than any human. They burned buildings, threatened inventors, because they were terrified. These machines, they believed, would take every single job and leave working people with nothing. Were they wrong? In the short run, no. Some of them lost their jobs. That part was real and painful. But here's what happened over the next 27 years. When the machines arrived, the whole cotton industry in England had about 7,900 workers. 27 years later, 320,000. The machines did not steal jobs. They created 40 times more of them. Here's why. Think of a lemonade stand. You squeeze lemons by hand. Exhausting. You make 10 cups a day. Someone gives you an electric juicer. Now you make 100 cups a day. You make more money. You buy more lemons. So the farmer does better. You buy more cups. So the cup maker does better. You buy more ice. The ice shop does better. You hire a friend to help. So that is a new job. One machine, ripples going everywhere. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what about AI? And look, AI is different. A truck carries more boxes. A calculator does math faster. But AI can write, think, design, code, all of it at once. That is new. But people panicked about every single invention. The factory, the car, the computer. Every time they said, this is the one that destroys work. Every time they were wrong. Will AI be the first exception in 200 years? I honestly don't know, but I'm not ready to bet against a pattern that has been right every single time. And look, whether it's AI or any other machine, the argument is always the same. Machines are only good if they don't take jobs. But by that logic, we should stop using trucks and make people carry everything on their backs. Actually, why stop there? Give everyone a spoon and make them dig roads by hand. Think of all the jobs that would be created. We would have zero unemployment. We don't do that because we're not crazy. The goal is never to keep everyone busy. The goal is for people to live well. Food on the table, time with their family. Jobs are how you get there. They're not the point. The jobs the machines took, that is the window being fixed. Easy to see, easy to cry about. The hundreds of thousands of new jobs that came after, that is the suit. 3. War doesn't grow the economy. After World War II, experts looked at the bombed cities of Europe. They said something shocking. This is actually good for the economy. Look at all these destroyed buildings. They will need to be rebuilt. Think of the construction jobs. Think of the demand. This destruction is going to create a boom. And people believed it because it sounded logical. It's the broken window trick again. Think of it this way. Your house burns down. You spend 2 years rebuilding it exactly as it was. Are you richer? No. You're back to where you started. Meanwhile, your neighbor spent those same 2 years building the second house. Now he has 2 and you have 1. Those workers that steal those cranes, they could have built something that didn't exist before. A hospital, a factory, a school. Instead, they're rebuilding what was already there before the bombs fell. You're not richer, you are back to zero at best. Destruction doesn't create wealth. If it did, we would just bomb our own cities whenever the economy slowed down. But we don't do that because we know it is insane. But every time a natural disaster hits and someone says, well, at least think of the rebuilding boom. That is the broken window right there. 4, government spending doesn't create jobs. Imagine every week your mom takes $10 from your pocket. She says, don't worry, I'll spend it for you. Here's the problem. You knew exactly what you needed. New shoes, a book for school. Your mom buys a decoration for the living room. It looks nice. Guests compliment it. But your shoes are still falling apart. This is what happens with government spending. The money doesn't disappear. It gets spent. Just not by you. You know your life better than anyone. You know what is urgent and what actually needs fixing. The government doesn't know any of that. They spend to look good, to win votes, to cut ribbons in front of cameras. That is how a city gets a brand new stadium while the roads outside your house look like the moon. The stadium is right there. Visible. Impressive. But the school that never got repaired, the business that never got started, you never see those things because they were never allowed to exist. The stadium is the window being fixed. Everything that was never built, that's the suit. 5. Taxing the rich hurts the poor. Imagine you and a friend make a bet. If you lose, you pay the full $10. If you win, you only keep $4. The teacher takes the other $6. Would you make that bet? Nobody would. The risk is not worth it. This is what high taxes do to businesses. When a business fails, it loses everything. When it succeeds, the government takes most of the profit. So business owners stop taking risks, stop expanding, stop investing. The result? Fewer businesses open, fewer people get hired, prices go up because there's less competition, poor people suffer the most. The government wanted more money, but by taking too much, it killed the very thing that was making money. The tax money collected, that is the window being fixed. The businesses that never started, that is the suit. 6, the forgotten man. Now I want to introduce you to someone. You've never met him. Nobody talks about him. Nobody puts him on the news. But he has been paying for everything in this video. His name is the Forgotten Man. Let me show you who he is. Your friend Jake forgot his lunch. He's sitting there hungry. Your teacher feels terrible, so she walks over to you, takes half of your sandwich, and gives it to Jake. You did nothing wrong. You packed your lunch. You followed every rule. Jake is happy. The teacher feels wonderful. And you are sitting there with half a sandwich and still hungry. You did everything right, but you are the one who paid. That is the Forgotten Man. The Forgotten Man is the grandfather who saved his whole life and watched his savings disappear when the government printed more money. He is the young person who could never find work because businesses stopped investing when taxes got too high. Always paying, always invisible, never thanked. And here's the thing. Every single bad economic idea in the world is just someone making Jake visible and making you invisible. Remember the baker from the start? The one who couldn't buy his suit? You've been the baker this whole time. You're always the one who loses the suit. So next time someone shows you the window being fixed, the bridge being built, Jake eating a sandwich, remember the suit. Remember the things that were never built. Remember you sitting there hungry. The bad economist sees what is visible. The good economist also sees what is not. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there really is one thing you need to learn to understand the economy. Stop looking at what is visible. Start looking at what is not. That's it. That's the whole thing. The book that taught me all of this is called Economics in One Lesson. I've got more book summaries like this one. The playlist is on your screen. Hope to see you there.